Today we are in one of the most beautiful cities in the world, Gdansk, Poland.
I think they decided they needed to spice it up here in Gdansk. Spicy, like Julie. Hot.
Gdansk is Poland's fourth largest city with about 400,000 inhabitants, but in the metro area over a million. It is a summer tourist destination known for its beaches and, of course, this beautiful, lively city. It's full of history and has been populated since 2500 to 1700 BC. Let's check it out.
Behind us is the Museum for Solidarity. Solidarity was the one and only union not controlled by the Soviet Union or the Russians during the communist period, and it ultimately led to the downfall of communism here in Poland, and it could be argued to the end of communism in Eastern and Central Europe, that it lit the spark of revolution for many countries.
Poland was never really embracing communism. It was forced upon them by the Soviet Union after World War II. Resistance, armed resistance that is, stayed in place and was fighting against communism within Poland inside the Iron Curtain until 1953. Many of the heroes that fought against Germany were executed by the communist regime. In 1980, a union formed called Solidarity, and it was able to take advantage of the anti-communist spirit within Poland. It had over 10 million members at its height, and it was the first non-government sanctioned union in Poland. With 10 million members, it was able to force the first semi-free election within Poland, and soon after, in 1989, communism fell in Poland thanks to this labor movement. Solidarity's leader, Lech Walesa, was elected as the first freely elected president, putting an end to communism in Poland. As we leave the Gdansk shipyards and we head into the old town of Gdansk, Poland, we see a very beautiful old city. But how old is it? That's up to debate. There were many ruins that were reconstructed here, built on what was remaining after World War II. 90% of this city was destroyed due to the Russians and the Germans fighting. At that time, the population here was pro-Nazi and of predominantly German descent. Gdansk is an old Polish city, but at that time it had been more or less cleansed of Polish inhabitants by the Germans. After World War II, the German population fled from Gdansk. Those that remained were removed by the Russians. This is a city that's changed hands many times over the millennia, although it started off Polish and spent most of its history as Polish.
I could say one thing, so far Gdansk is absolutely gorgeous.
It is beautiful.
There's the architecture, the buildings here, it's pretty amazing. I'm impressed.
As I mentioned, most buildings here were badly damaged during World War II. Even St. Mary's Church was rebuilt. This entire square were crumbled and 80 to 90% destroyed.
So Gdansk is not just one street of these pretty houses. This is like a maze of cool architecture and cool houses. This is a very large area of the town. All looks beautiful like this.
If you're new to our channel, Julie and I, we're traveling the world with our two dogs. We're trying to see what it's like to live in other countries, other locations, places, and we're sharing our experiences and expenses with you. Sometimes we do the tourist things. Sometimes we're interviewing expats and foreigners that are living in a different country, finding out what their budget and expenses are like. We also talk to residency experts. And as we travel the world, we do use international health insurance, and I am an appointed agent. So if you are a traveler looking for medical coverage as you travel the world, or if you're staying put in a foreign country, send me an email at warrenjulietravel@gmail.com, and I'll send you a link to our programs.
Part of the problem with Gdansk is everything looks like a point of interest, and you don't know where the points of interest are. I mean, you look down that street, it's gorgeous, and look down my other shoulder, and it's just spectacular. And also, right behind us, I'm going to do a close-up on these paintings just on this little building. I don't even know, what that's about, but there's like a lot of buildings with beautiful frescoes and paintings all over them.
If you're a local in Gdansk and you understand what this painting's about or know the history, leave it in the comments. We're curious. So now Gdansk's history goes back a long ways, and it's been called Gdansk since the 900s. The area has been ruled on several occasions by Germans, and Danzig was the commonly used name during their times of occupation. So the first time Gdansk was heard was in 997, and the first time Danzig was used is 1399. And this is an important fact to bring up, as the name Danzig is often referred to as time of occupation by Germany. So if you're in Poland, and unless you're German, using the name Danzig may not be politically correct, and it may be assumed you're trying to make a point about whose city this should be. Having a high number of German speakers prior to World War II, it was used as an excuse by Hitler to invade Poland, and thus starting World War II. So now the city is just absolutely beautiful, with everything being basically rebuilt in the last 70 years. It's like walking back in time when the construction was new. Although you probably wouldn't see these cars going down the river back then. Just walking around this city was a feast for the eyes. The building, the architecture, so much to take in. Now there were quite a few people here, a lot of crowds. Kind of felt a little bit like adult Disneyland on steroids. However, everybody in these crowds were super polite, and nobody was stepping on each other's toes. We've also been told that the crowds that we were encountering were larger than what's typically here. So if you're planning on visiting Gdansk, hopefully you won't see as many people here. But if you do, no big deal. Gdansk is an international city with tourists from all over, and I highly recommend that you come here, and if you do, check out the sheep cheese.
So we're having this, and it came out to 9 zloty altogether. Doing a little street food here.
Also, give the fruit that's covered with different types of chocolate a try as well. I like to think it's healthy for you. Julie differs. Along the waterfront, it's a festive atmosphere. You've got a merry-go-round, and there's little types of rides nearby. And there's a plethora of restaurants scattered throughout the town. Across the river, you have a Ferris wheel and other places to relax and grab a beer. And there's a couple different drawbridges that allow you to more easily cross the river. Initially, we didn't notice the drawbridges, and we walked a long way around to get from one point to another. So keep your eyes open for them. It will definitely save you some steps and get you somewhere quicker if you're in a hurry. Just seems to be wherever you walk in the old town, it's just got a vibe and a festive atmosphere. We really like the place, and if we decide that we're settling in Poland at some point, Gdansk is high on the list. Now, this is a shipbuilding town and has a long history, and you can even go see the first ship that was built after World War II here at the Gdansk shipyards. It was donated to be a floating museum. It's right near the Ferris wheel. Well, we put a lot of steps on, and we went back across the river over by the merry-go-round to grab a bite. We had about 16,000 steps on us so far today. So let's take a look at the menu of the restaurant that we're going to go to. And if you're new to the channel, I oftentimes show the menu so that you can take a look and see if there's something on the menu that you would have rather ordered than what we ordered. So you can look at the price and see what the cost might be. We found the restaurant to be pretty reasonably priced with a good selection of options. Now there are a lot of restaurants in the area You can have Chinese food, Japanese, Korean, Mexican, you name it, it's here in Gdansk. Now, as a reminder, Julie and I were traveling the world with our two dogs, trying to see what it's like to live in other countries, other places. So if you haven't already, please don't forget to give this video a like. Please subscribe so that you can follow us as we travel with our two dogs.
You tired, honey?
Exhausted.
Long day, huh?
My feet are killing me.
A lot of walking. Julie's got the
Roasted beet
salad with
and
some
they added
chicken. I've got the cod, roasted cod with a carrot salad and potatoes, and my beer. Okay, so the food here is what I would call gourmet. It's really good. Whatever we're paying for it, it's worth it. I don't have an idea what we're paying. I don't remember, but it will be worth it. Total was $117. I left a 20 tip because the service is great and food was great for $137.
Now, there were a lot of street vendors, and Julie decided that we needed to get a fresh baked loaf of bread to take back with us today. So let's take a look and see what she bought here at this little bakery at one of the kiosks here on the street. Julie did her best with her Google Translator, but something seems to be awry. Get it? Awry? R-Y-E? Rye bread?
Look at that, honey. That's as big as you. Let's see the size of that loaf. Yeah, that's a hunk of.
Yeah, the one I pointed to was the half.
Well, not 28 zloty was a lot for a loaf of bread, so I saw the loaf of bread. Look at that. That's as big as she is. Okay, this is it. We're entering the Baltic. There's the beach, Brezhnev. There's a ton of people down there. But the most important part of this beach, right here with the dogs.
We decided to go check out the beach the next afternoon. Let the heat die down a little bit. It was quite hot.
So I've laid eyes on the Baltic and actually have gone into the water up to my thighs. I didn't wear the right shorts to go in, but touch it's actually much warmer than I would have thought. And we're at Dog Beach, so I'm hoping the dogs will take advantage of it. So far, I think Ari's gone up to about paw depth.
On this particular day, we just decided we were going to stroll through the park that is alongside the coast and check out what the beach was like and see whether or not the dogs were really allowed. So I wasn't quite prepared for this particular beach this day with my swimsuit, but we did get a good chance to see what the beach was like. And the following day, we chose to go to a place that was a little bit more remote. We did have to drive to it, but it was much more serene and peaceful.
Walking through this pristine forest to, I guess, a more pristine, secluded beach. Excited?
I am. This is my kind of thing.
Mountain girl. I've been picking on Julie today because she keeps saying she's a mountain girl because she likes the cooler temperatures. I'm saying, Julie, you probably want to rethink the mountain girl thing. People probably think you're like a lumberjack and she needs to be out there chopping wood. Oh, I need to watch where I'm going. And in front of us is this site. Beautiful, pristine beach. And there's other dogs over here. It's a really nice place to escape here. It's beautiful.
This beach may have been a little bit of a drive, and we had to park a ways away and hike through the woods to get down to it, but I felt like this was worth it. Our dogs really enjoyed themselves running around and just doing what dogs do, and I even went in the water today, had the right shorts. So it was a great day. We packed up, headed back through the woods, which seemed to be longer going uphill for some reason, but we enjoyed the hike. Gdansk blew us away, and we are so happy we made the trip it really surpassed all of our expectations.
So as a reminder, Julie and I, we're traveling the world with our two dogs, trying to see what it's like to live in other countries, other places. We're trying to share our experiences and expenses with you. So we hope that you're going to give this video a like, subscribe, and until next time, have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.